A long time ago, I decided to begin a series where I was building different houses in Minecraft based off of Taylor Swift eras. Since then, it has been a very, very long time, and that is mainly on my part. Part of my passion for Minecraft suddenly went away, and I didn't have the inspiration or motivation to continue doing anything. However, with recent events that have happened in my life, that ball has been picked back up and I'm ready to get it rolling. So today I'm very happy to share this Speak Now inspired build with you all. And if you enjoy it just as much as I have, then please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But without further ado, it's been a very long time coming. Enjoy. To start off, I decided to place down the basic block palette that I would be using throughout this entire build. I placed down some cobbled deep slate and some stripped spruce wood, and then started laying the basic foundations. As you can see, I was going for a regular sort of basic L shape here, and then eventually I would build up the walls and create this nice little abode that we would end up having. Because of the theme of this album being enchanted and magical, I decided to add sort of a wee tower at the back using a circular frame of 3x3 with one diagonal block spacing in between. I then decided I'm going to see how the foundations would look raised up with another block. However, that was all subject to change, as you will see moving forward. I then decided to try and raise it up by a third block to hopefully create another sense of sort of depth to it as well. However, I ended up scrapping the whole thing and just going with one block for the foundations and then moving the pillars of support a block inside the building. As much as them being outside would have added depth, I much preferred this look to the basic. I then decided to change up what blocks I was going to use for the wall. I was going for the purple vibe because Speak Now is the purple album. However, a lot of the purple blocks in Minecraft aren't the right tone that I was looking for. So I decided to go blue terracotta instead, which I think has that nice deep purple that's sort of royal and magical as well, and fit in with the rest of the dark colour palette I chose. I then started raising the supports for the house and raised them up quite a little bit in order to create some height, and then began raising the tower as well. I then decided to raise the walls a little bit more. Yes, we're going for height here. We're going for grandeur. We're having something that looks fancy, but is still very simple and still survival friendly. While terracotta might be a more difficult block to come across, the colours in clay are very easy to come across in any river and most flowers. So I'm continuing to raise the walls a little bit, and as you can see, we've got that nice deep purple, which goes really nice with the cobbled deep slate as the bottom. Spruces were also one of my favourite woods, so I thought that just complemented as well, especially since it's a darker, but it's not too dark that it's overpowering like the dark oak wood would have been. After raising the walls, I decided to go to the front of the build and start placing sort of the foundations for how I wanted the roof to look. So I went with these triangular sort of shapes so that we can add some height to it without taking away from the sort of structure and height of the build itself. I then began to raise up the tower because we want that to sort of peak over the roof, continuing to raise the walls as we go. I can't remember exactly how many blocks tall I did, but again, if you're wanting to build this by yourself, feel free to make it as tall or as short as you want. I then went in with some cobbled deep slate stairs and blocks in order to create sort of a rusticy Viking looking roof. Now, the style doesn't tend to fit in with sort of the fantasy magical element that I was looking for. However, we still want to keep that realistic survival element about it. So that was the roof that I chose. So we're just lining the outside right now, making sure to keep repeating the same pattern on the opposite side as well, because we still want that level of symmetry while the tower keeps that level of asymmetry as well to add that little bit of spice that we like. But after lining the roof, I decided to go in with the amethyst block in order to add that sense of magic and whimsy that I feel that this album encapsulates. The album Speak Now has a song called Enchanted on it, which I thought these blocks fit the palette for perfectly. Now, Enchanted holds a special place in my heart because me and my best friend in the entire world decided that that was our song. Despite being about being enchanted and falling in love with a man in first sight, we thought it was enchanting for each of us to meet each other when we did at our point in our lives. And I have known this woman for 17 years and I would not have it any other way. So Jodie, if you're watching this, I love you lots. This build is semi for you, and also for me. Continuing with the roof, I decided to add a little bit more depth by adding extra blocks on the top and around the sides. It just adds still, again, that rusticy feeling that I'm going after, where this build has been built from the ground up by hand. That is what I'm wanting. After finishing the roof, I decided to go back into the tower and add a little bit more height, but not too much, because we don't want it to look sort of lopsided. We want it to look uniform. I then went in with deep slate slabs and went around the entire outside, again creating another trim so that it still looks cohesive. And then with the amethyst blocks, going in again to create sort of a cone shape on top to make it look like a wizard's tower, something magical, somewhere where someone would be up to some magic spells and nefarious deeds, perhaps. So I continued to round out the top to eventually get to a little peak where it went by a 3x3 and then just one single block stacked on top of each other. I then went in to again add some more shape, add some more depth, deleting and adding blocks where needed be. It's all sort of trained in the eye, because when I go in for a build, I don't go in planning to do something. I go in and just let the blocks flow, let my mind do its thing, and just see what comes out of my little old noggin. So I'm continuing to do that, adding it and taking away from where needs be, and then we move down to the front of the build. And add in where the door I want is going to be, because I'm wanting to build a little sort of decking there as well. So we're going out with some spruce slabs in order to do that, and then putting some more stripped spruce logs at the side, and then adding some more slabs to make sort of an incline as stairs, and then we head inside the building. So inside, I'm again keeping with a very simple palette of what I want for the floor. So I'm using, I think it was purple or magenta terracotta, either will work for the floor, and I'm filling that in. It's quite basic, quite easy, simple wee task. And then went in and decided where I was wanting the windows. So I want a lot of natural light. That is one thing that I love in Minecraft, is a lot of natural light. So I'm adding in 2x2s, 1x2s, and then this big window at the back to take up some wall space, because walls, I feel, are one of the hardest things to decorate in Minecraft. Then went and put a wee window above the door. That is not there forever, because when I'm inside, I end up hating it. And then I end up creating this little slanted overhang over the door. I just thought it'd be cute, again, keeping with the rustic minimal feel of someone put a lot of care and time into this home. Continue to do that, and then I add some fences to create a little railing. And then we head back inside the building to start placing down where I want our other floors to be as well, while continuing to add in some more windows along the tower. So I decided to go for 3 separate floors. So we've got the ground floor, the first floor, and then the second floor and the tower. And then I decided to add in some more pillars inside again to keep that depth and make it sort of tie in with the outside of the build as well. We then run up to the second floor and fix some blocks that are misplaced. As you can see, I'm deleting some amethyst blocks, realizing that I'm deleting too many, so I might as well just shove them right back. I then continue my way up the tower and fix a couple blocks that I missed while originally building the exterior of the building. I then decide to add in our third floor and extra windows as well for that natural lighting, and fill it in with the same spruce slabs that we used on the wee porch outside. I then make my way back down and begin adding in extra windows on the second floor, again just for that natural light to be able to come in. I then make my way back to the exterior in order to finish up some work that I was doing out there. I thought that this sort of looked a bit bland, so I decided to maybe add like sort of a middle trim around the tower. We're going in with, again, the deep slate stairs. However, I decided after a little bit, I didn't really like it. It looked too like sticky outy, for lack of a better term. So I decided to just completely scrap it and then do something else. So I was thinking, how can we make this feel a bit more rustic? So I decided to then go in with some of the spruce fences in order to make it look like this was used as like scaffolding in the construction of the tower. And I really, really like this tower, like the look of this spruce against the terracotta. It just, it's magnifique. So I continue adding a bit more, making it again feel rusticy, feel older, because that's what this is. This house is a representation of Taylor Swift's third album, which is an older album. So we want to sort of capture that while we're building. We then make our way back inside the tower, and I'm adjusting some of the blocks on the roof to again make it feel a lot more put together and a lot more cohesive. And then I end up adding a deep slate stone wall with some spruce fences and a little lantern hanging down for a little bit of light inside. We then move down to the second floor where I add some fences in order to make sure you don't fall from that floor. Then I add in a lot of storage and barrels and then some bookcases as well for decoration because we still want this house to be survival friendly. I then go in with another wee lantern hidden in the wee bookcases because it's a layer of depth as well as a layer of lighting as well. Then add in, I think, a wee flower pot as well with a wee dandelion as a wee callback to Fearless because Fearless is the Yellow album. And then we head back upstairs and we begin filling in the windows with, I think it was the light grey glass, just because they're not as harsh as the regular glass or any other colour. And I think it also just fits very nicely. So we're going in, filling all those around, and then I decide that I actually don't really like that window. So I go in and I get rid of that window before moving again to the second floor. I decided that I wanted a lot more space. So I get rid of those fences and then fill in another layer of the spruce slabs in order to create that second floor where we will put our bed and some other decorations that may also be required in survival as well. We then move back up to the third floor of the Wizard's Tower where I'm deciding what to do, and I came to the conclusion that I wanted this to be sort of an enchanting area. Now, what's more fitting for the Wizard's Tower than magic, hence the enchanting area? I also thought that magic should play a bigger aspect and role of this build as well, considering Speak Now is very much like fantasy, dragons, long live, for instance. So I decided to fill up with the bookcases, and I also wanted to make sure that this could work in survival. So I kept checking the enchanted table, making sure you can get to 30 levels and filling in bookcases where bookcases needed to be. So after a little while of doing that and figuring that all out, I was very happy with how it turned out. We were able to get to 30 levels of enchant. Decided to add a little bit more decoration with some glow berries as well. I just loved the vine look that the glow berries give off, and I thought it would be very cute. And in order to stop them from growing, I placed some string underneath so that they stayed at the preferred height and length that I would like them to be. And then was poking around in the inventory thinking about what else would be needed in the enchanting setup, and I thought about a grindstone because obviously if you're enchanting things you also need to be able to disenchant them. So I was searching for that and searching for other building blocks to use later on down the line, and then I placed down my little grindstone and a little plant pot and another wee lantern for that extra added light. Then I decided that that plant pot needed a cute little sapling in it, so I decided what's better than a wee cherry blossom sapling, so that is exactly what I did. We then make our way back downstairs to the second floor, where we're going to put our little bedroom and little knickknacks that will also be required in survival. So I placed down a purple bed because of course purple is the iconic colour of this album, and then I'm going with more decor, what to put here. So I get some carpets, I get some purple carpet and I get some magenta carpet and create sort of a checkered pattern with that. And then decide that the bed itself looks a little bit bare. So we're going to go in and we're going to put in some wee bedside tables, which I decided to use some barrels for, and then add some decoration above the bed as well with some hanging lanterns using some chains. I then decided I hated the symmetry, so I wanted to go an asymmetrical vibe, which looked very cute. Then, as usual, what do I pull out? Another plant pot. So I placed a wee plant pot and a wee painting, and then I decided that the other side looks a bit bare, so I put in a skull to pretend to be sort of an alarm clock. I then decide I'm going to put a little orchid inside of that plant pot, and then I move on to the other side of the room. So for this side of the room, I decided to put a wee armour stand where we'd go and get dressed every morning. This is where we'd go get our armour. And I didn't really know what else to add here, so I decided to just go with what my heart was telling me, which was leaves. We need more greenery. We need more life. We need something magical and something sort of enchanted foresty, which is why I went in with some azalea leaves and some flowering azalea leaves. I then decided to try and add in some vines, but I hated the way that they looked, so I got rid of them and then just went and got the armour that I wanted. And of course, what's more strong than netherite armour? So we had to do that there as well. I then went in with a little redstone torch to add like a secret little bit of light to make it seem a bit more magical, because that is the entire vibe that I'm wanting for this build. I went in with some more hanging lanterns coming off of chains on the roof. And yeah, the top floor was basically done. So now, making our way down to the bottom floor, we're going to begin on what I like to call the kitchen. Now, the kitchen isn't too detailed. There wasn't much that I could do because I used slabs for the roof, but I decided to go in again with a wee furnace and a wee campfire under the smoker to make it look like you were actually cooking in there. I then went in with some more of the deep slate blocks in order to create a wee countertop, and then I added in a little crafting table and blast furnace in the corner, and finishing it off with another little stair. I then decided that the walls looked a little bare, so I went in with some more of those spruce trapdoors in order to create some shelving. I then thought that the shelves could use a little bit of colour, so I added in some of those candles there, as well as another plant pot and an amethyst as well for that like little spark. Then placed a torch flower inside of the plant pot because I thought torch flowers looked quite cool, and then decided to move on to the separate part of this floor. So this side, I sort of went a bit more simple. I added in some carpet on this side. It's sort of a little bed for any pets that you want to keep, just because they also deserve somewhere cozy. And then I went in with some more of the spruce stairs and slabs in order to create a little table where I would put something magical, something enchanted, like a dragon egg, and a little sort of cluster of amethyst as well as some regular candles. Again, just sort of cluttering things up, making it look lived in, enchanted, and also the dragon egg being a nod to long live. Then went and finally placed a door and decided to move on to the outside. So I decided to go with these little overhangs over some windows. However, I couldn't put them on all of the windows, so I went with some shutters as well. So we're just using spruce fences, spruce slabs, and spruce trapdoors, creating these overhangs and shutters on each of the windows. Now, when it came to the tower, I wanted sort of an asymmetrical vibe to continue going, so I went with some shutters on two of the windows, we overhang, and then the other one overhang and two shutters again, but on different levels. And I just thought that that would look really nice, really out there. And you're going to notice something is I forget about that one little window up by that roof. It does bother me. I will go back and fix it later. Not in the video, but outside. Then continue to add little shutters, and then I decided that the walls are still a bit bare, so we're adding in my usual go-to, which is some leaves crawling up to sort of mimic vines. So I do that again with the azaleas, just wrapping around the tower, sort of again creating that magical vibe. And then I create a little bush down in the little corner after a little while, just again fill up more of that wall space, just so that it doesn't look so bare, because I hate a bare wall. We're going around filling out little bushes, and then we move on to this wall, which I also forgot about. And again, we're just going to put that little overhang with the spruce fences, trapdoors, and slabs, and the wee shutters as well. We then make our way back to the front of the build, and I have just noticed that I have forgotten that window as well, so I'll go fix that later after this video. And I decide just to add in a little path, just a little dirt path, nothing too special. Again, this is a survival friendly build. So we're going with a wee shovel, and then we make our way back to the interior to add a little bit more decor, because your life's never full unless it's cluttered. So we go back up a couple of floors and I add in some more candles. And then on this bottom floor, I thought, what can I put here? What is something that should be in this space? So I decided just a little bit more storage and a little bit more of what you need in survival, like an ender chest, an anvil, a little jukebox for some funsies, and then just filled the rest up with some more barrels and added some more candles as well. Again, nothing too crazy, just adding a little bit of lighting. I then got rid of some of that counter because I thought it was a bit cluttered and it looked a bit too crazy. So I shortened the counter a wee bit and then went in and added some more carpet to the floor, just again, adding a bit more pop of colour, adding something different. So I went in this cool, like sort of zigzaggy lightning bolt. And I thought that looked very cool. Again, keeping with the magenta and the purple. I then decided that that wall was too bare, it needed a painting. So I just went with a nice, simple painting, since there's not a lot of like 1x2s. I just went with the women because I thought suited the vibe. Then added in some torches again for a little bit of extra lighting, and then in the kitchen thought that the floor was too bare. So I went in again with some more of the carpet, again trying to figure out a nice little pattern. Just using the magenta and the purple. And there you have it. A lovely survival-friendly build inspired by Speak Now. This video was very time-consuming to make. However, I am so happy with the outcome of this build, and I wouldn't have it any other way, apart from the 2 windows that I missed. Um, but other than that, I think it fits the vibe really well. It is magical, it is rustic, it is just full of colour, and again, something that's easily buildable in survival. And it did bring my spark for both Minecraft and making videos back as well. I'm so happy with how this build turned out, and I would not have it any other way. So I want to thank you all very much for being so patient with me, and also for sitting through this video and enjoying it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. And as per usual, there of course are a couple little Easter eggs to the album I will be doing next. So if you managed to catch that, please let me know down below in the comments. Yeah, thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you all later. Bye.